What's up YouTube, it's Young Man's Daily Red Pill, back with another video. Thank you guys for clicking on today's video. Drop a like, hit that subscribe button, share the video, turn on all notifications so you don't miss another upload. Today's video, we're going to be talking about Healthline.com's latest article where they basically discuss why young men, especially, it's also young women according to this article and this research, are having less sex than ever. They're going to present some statistics as well as some opinions, and I'm here to basically go back and forth and kind of pick apart their arguments as well as add some of my commentary. And I want to hear from you guys what you guys think, because as you know, this is a young man's channel, or just a man's channel in general, but we like to bounce ideas off each other. And we as men, especially if you're on this channel, you've decided to go your own way, you've decided to take the red pill, you have that awareness about you. And a lot of you guys have decided to either go monk or have decided to have just short-term relationships, short-term hookups. And I think a lot of it has to do with men actually choosing to not have sex rather than being forced into not having sex. It might have a little bit of them being forced to not have sex, but I feel like a lot of it has to do with men that decide that they no longer want to have sex with today's women and today's modern women, and instead they want to focus on their careers, their success, and building up their own wealth. Let's read this article. I'll give you guys my thoughts. Share your thoughts in the comments as we go along. Alright, so the article is titled Why Young Adults, Especially Men, Are Having Sex Less Frequently. Because honestly, guys, I think that a lot of us can get sex and are just choosing not to have sex, and we just want to focus on our careers and stuff. But anyway, let's just read it. A new study indicates that men and women between the ages of 18 and 24 are having sex less often. Experts say delayed adulthood may be one factor. They add the amount of material on the internet to watch may also be affecting personal face-to-face relationships. The experts say a lack of sex can affect a person's overall well-being. People are having less sex, and the decline is being seen among young adults, particularly men. The trend may have more to do with the internet and dating apps than morality, fear of pregnancy, or easy access of porn. About 1 in 3 men ages 18 to 24 reported no sexual activity in the past year, according to a new study. Between 2000 to 2002 and 2016 to 2018, past year sexual inactivity rose from almost 19% to almost 31% among men ages 18 to 24, according to researchers led by Dr. Peter Ueda. Sexual inactivity among women of the same age remained relatively constant, rising from 15% to 19% over the same period of time. The study also found that sexual activity declined significantly among men and women ages 25 to 34 years old. 7% versus 14% among men, 7% versus 12% among women. Sexual inactivity did not decline among adults ages 35 to 44 years old. Fewer adults have also reported having sex weekly or more frequently. Unmarried, low income, and unemployed or part-time employed men were more likely to have had no sex within the past year than those who were married, had a higher income, or had jobs. Which is why I made the video on the 90-10 rule being a serious possibility, because of after this whole virus situation, this whole pandemic, there's going to be a higher demand for these top 10% men out there that are going to be attracting the majority of the women out there, because when hard times fall, they look for that beta male provider to come in and save the day. Quote, it seems like in the US and elsewhere, it might be harder for a proportion of the population to establish themselves in society, in the labor market, and perhaps also in the dating market. The study also found that even among people who were having sex, frequency has declined. While the mean sexual frequency among those who were sexually active may reflect their priorities and preferences, sexual inactivity may reflect an absence of sexual intimate relationships with substantially different implications for individuals and society. The findings were drawn from the responses of 4,291 men and 5,213 women who took part in the U.S. General Social Survey between 2000 and 2018. So then the article goes on to basically describe why they believe sex has declined in young adults, and especially young men. And the first one is delayed adulthood may be a factor. In a commentary accompanying the survey's results, a professor at San Diego State said similar declines in sexual activity have been shown in surveys conducted in Great Britain, suggesting that the trend isn't limited to the United States. Swinch said that young adults may be having sex less because they are taking longer to progress to adulthood. This includes the postponement of not just sexual activity, but also other activities related to mating and reproduction, including dating, living with a partner, pregnancy, and birth, she said. And I will comment on that. All of those things that she just listed all benefit a woman, and they do not benefit a man in any way. You see how they talked about dating, living with a partner, pregnancy, and birth. A lot of men, with those 4 things, a lot of men are deciding they don't want to be a part of this anymore. They've taken the red pill. They have some type of sort of awareness. They see what's happening to their uncles, their parents. They've seen divorce rates. They're deciding that they don't even want to participate in this anymore because it's literally like playing with a loaded gun. And I don't think men are wanting to date, have children, or mess around with these promiscuous women any longer, to be honest. I really just think a lot of these men have decided they don't want to even deal with these females. However, these reproductive trends have not occurred in isolation. Instead, they are part of a broader culture trend towards delayed development. This is basically a way that they try to shame us as men for playing video games and enjoying life. And they try to say that we have some stunted growth and delayed adulthood, delayed manhood, because we don't want to get married and we don't want to commit. When in reality, if you look at the statistics, who the hell would want to commit? Who would want to risk their life, all their hard work, their credibility, their savings, their investments on some type of female that can just leave them at any moment because she wakes up and feels some certain type of way? For example, adolescents in the 2010s were also less likely to drive, drink alcohol, go out with their parents, and work at paid jobs compared with adolescents in previous decades. It's not just young men who are having sex less than a generation ago. It's young women too. So the doctor goes on to say it's part of an overall trend towards less risky behavior since 1990, including not only sex but alcohol use, risky driving, and criminal activity. And also the possibility that you can be slapped with a Me Too movement because a female wakes up after a one-night stand and no longer decides that she wanted to hook up with you in that moment, even though she decided to drink and she decided to go to that party and she decided to hook up with you in that moment. Digital media distractions is the next point that they add. Porn probably isn't the only problem, added the doctor, since research shows that porn users are actually more sexually active. Rather, she suggests the vast entertainment options offered by the internet and digital media as a whole may be distracting young people from developing real-life relationships. Although internet sites and social media should theoretically make it easier to find new sexual partners, time spent online has also displaced time once spent on face-to-face social interaction. And also, a lot of these females are getting so many messages from so many thirsty simp guys that they end up just not even choosing any of these guys because they're overwhelmed with so many messages. It's like going to a buffet and having a ton of food. They have so many options to choose from. They don't know whether they want the fried chicken. They don't know whether they want the ice cream. They don't know whether they want the Italian food over here in that section. They got all the different assortments and they don't know which one to pick. So what ends up happening is they end up just leaving the restaurant. Here we really get into the nitty gritty because this is what I'm speculating and this is what I think a lot of you guys that are watching this are probably thinking. Nancy Sutton Pierce, a clinical sexologist, told Healthline that decades-long decline in male testosterone levels may play a role in sexual inactivity. That means there's a lot of pussified men, a lot of simp manginas out there. And you guys have seen it. We've all seen these guys. The soy boys that walk around looking like they've never picked up a weight, looking like they've never worked on their bodies, walking feminine, raised by single mothers. You know those types. We've all seen these guys. And I've seen way more of these recently in recent time than in any other previous generation. It's like they're just popping out of the woodwork these days. And we as men, for the most part, I'm not talking about us on this channel, but a lot of men have become completely soft, completely beta, completely just some straight beta. Then she goes on to say, and that the hashtag Me Too movement also may be playing a part. Quick story real quick. I have a friend that lives in Fresno, and she went to a school up there. I won't say the specific school, but she knew a girl that was in her sorority that accused three guys on 3 back-to-back consecutive nights of rape and date rape. And what happened was this female is now putting these guys through hell. And these guys are in court. They lost their tuition. And what happened was they got pulled out of college. Their family has to show up to court. They have to pay fees. And this is going to be on the record forever because she is basically saying that she doesn't remember anything that happened. And she's also blaming my friend for supplying alcohol at her sorority, even though she had the option to choose to drink that alcohol. They are still taking this female side because she is a woman, and we live in an era with Me Too movement, so I do not blame the men that have decided to completely step out of this because it is BS. Like, why even play with fire like that? Why risk your entire career, your entire scholarship, your reputation off of some chick that's been sleeping around and then wakes up and decides she wants to accuse you? It doesn't make any sense. Women are more empowered to say both yes and no and intolerant of coercion and forced sex. She also added that fewer unwanted pregnancies and sexual transmitted diseases might be some of the positive benefits associated with declining sexual activity. Then the article basically goes on to talk about Covoid. I'm not going to say the full name because I don't want to get demonetized, but they talk about how this might be an issue as well. But what I really think it boils down to is that a lot of men have decided, like, we're capable of having sex. We really are. And we bettered our lives. We're working on self-improvement. And we could definitely have sex if we wanted to, if we chose to. But we just have decided we don't want to do that. We've decided that we'd rather focus on our careers than waste our time messing around with these thoughts that have been they've slept with everyone. Like, you're not getting anything special. That whole like special fantasy where you thought there was that one out there, that virgin that had saved herself for you one day, and like you were gonna have a family and raise beautiful kids and you guys would be each other's first. That doesn't exist anymore. And you can thank some of these things that the article mentioned, but you can also thank the rise of feminism, which they didn't talk about, because this is a leftist article, I believe. And I feel like if they talk about feminism in a bad light, they will risk losing sponsors, risk being deplatformed. You know what happens to content creators like myself. We get demonetized all the time because of our views, and we have opposing views to what the narrative that they want to push out on YouTube and other social media platforms is. So basically, that's what I'm thinking. The reason why young men are choosing to not have as much sex. I agreed with some of their points, but some of them I really didn't agree with, and I felt like they tried to shame men into dating and getting in relationships, and they try to tell us like we're not growing up and we're not being productive citizens. We're stuck in that man-child stage of life or whatever. But it's in reality, we can be dating, but we choose not to date these thoughts because one thing. Bras are frauds. That's 100. All right, guys, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I want to hear from you guys. Drop a like on this video to spread the awareness. Share the content as well, and let me know your thoughts. Have a good one.